In today's review, I'm taking a dual motor $1,400 bike and comparing it with a $1,500 single motor bike. I want to know if you get more power, torque, and performance with a bike that has two smaller 500 watt motors than you do in a bike that has a larger single 750 watt motor. I've already reviewed this bike, which you can find linked below. So after I compare the power between the two in a speed, acceleration, and hill test, I'll then focus my attention on the Mooncool MC3 and tell you guys how it rides and feels and all the stats and specs that come along with it. So let's get to it with the speed test. As far as speed with straight throttle, the Bandit topped out at 20 miles per hour. The Mooncool hit 27. When I switched over to pedal assist, that's when the Bandit was able to unleash all of its power, and it topped out at 27 miles per hour. Pretty much they had the same top speed for pedal assist. Now I want to know if you get the same top speed if you shut one of the motors off. On the left side, there is a switch. If you push it left, that just turns on the front motor. So I'm gonna run back up the road with only one motor on and see if I get the same speed as I did with two motors. Well, that surprised me. I was not expecting to hit 27 miles per hour with one motor. So if you want to save some battery life, just switch off one of those motors. The second test is acceleration, and I want to talk about the weight first because the Mooncool looks like it weighs more, but it doesn't. Both bikes are around 75 pounds, and as far as power going to the motors, both of them have a 48 volt battery. The first test is only going to be throttle. There's really no competition. The Mooncool was clearly faster off the line with straight throttle. I want to do that same test again, this time on pedal assist. Now with this test, there wasn't that big of a difference. The Bandit pretty much kept right up with the Mooncool. Both of these bikes have a cadence sensor, and I felt that the power kicked on sooner with the Bandit than it did with the Mooncool. The last test is a hill test, and for this first test, I'm only going to use straight throttle, and I did have some momentum as I started to climb. For hill climbing power, you have got to go with the Mooncool. That just hauled up that hill. I only dipped down to 12 miles per hour. The Bandit tried, but I wasn't able to make it up. It stopped about halfway up the hill. And I was curious to find out if the Mooncool can make it up without any momentum. The last test I wanted to do was to see if it would make it up or how far it would get up the hill with only one motor. It wasn't able to make it to the top, but it did make it a lot further than the Bandit, which is pretty interesting because you have a 500 watt compared to a 750 watt. If you guys are looking for an affordable bike that can climb hills, this is the bike that you're gonna want. Okay, so are two smaller motors better than a larger single motor? Well, as far as speed goes, they top out pretty close to the same, 27 miles per hour. As far as acceleration, the Mooncool is faster off the line with throttle than the Bandit. And then as far as hill climbing ability, really no comparison. Mooncool all the way. If I had to pick between the two, I gotta go the MC3. All right, now I wanna take the Bandit out of the picture. It has served its purpose, and I wanna talk more about the Mooncool. And the first thing I wanna talk about are the brakes. You do have hydraulic brakes. Left side controls the front wheel, the right side the rear. There is motor cutoff, but they're not connected to the tail light. This is a manual tail light. You have mountain bike style grips. They're smaller, hard, and I do like the feel of them. You do have a backlit LCD screen if you just hold down the plus button. On the right side, you have a flick bell. And then below, you have a 7-speed trigger style shifter. I do like that shifter. You pull to go up in gears, push to go down. That's a nicer shifter for a bike in this price range. Around front is kind of messy with the wiring. You got suspension that you would expect for a bike in this price range. You can't lock that out, just one click, locks it, push it back to open it. You got 26 by 4-inch all-terrain fat tires. I like the paint job. Just a ketchup color sort of a deal. There are welding marks up top, not my favorites. Got an internal battery that you can take out with the key. Once you put the key in, just twist this, it falls out. On the other side, you have a nice charge port cover. It just easily pops on and stays in place. It takes 4 to 6 hours to fully charge. Once charged, I did a range test. Temperature was pretty chilly at 40 degrees. My average speed was 23 miles per hour. Got 1,100 feet of elevation gain and around 18 miles. These guys say that you can get up to about 35 to 40 miles if you ride it a little bit slower, a little bit nicer, and in warmer weather. Moving back, you have a nice large saddle. Underneath, there's some suspension. You do have a mountain bike style posture. You also have pretty wide handlebars, so you have a nice wide stance. I also like the ride and feel. The motor wasn't that loud. The brakes are actually quiet as well. It's got a nice ride and feel for a $1,400 bike. Well, there you go, guys. That is a dual motor fat bike for less than $1,500. I thought it was pretty awesome. If you do want to pick it up, I've got the link in the description, and I'll also see if I can get you guys some sort of discount, and we'll update that throughout the year to try to save you some money. If there's any questions or if anything was unclear in the review, hit me up in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching and take care.